and welcome to Moms on Mics. I'm Joanne.
I'm Cash.
And I'm Sophia.
In this episode, we are going to continue with our coverage of the West Memphis 3. And this week, we are going to talk about Jessie Misskelly and his confession. Well, one of them, at least. He apparently, people used to call him Jesse Confessy because he confessed quite a few times. So I learned that today, which is pretty weird. But he did confess more than once, so that's fair. Okay, so between 10:30 to 11 a.m. on June 3rd, 1993, Jesse is read his Miranda rights, which he waives. This will be a mistake on his father's part, honestly. Jesse was only 17 at the time, and he has an IQ of 72, which has been debated. Some say it's higher, some say it's lower. It is what it is. That's what's documented, that it's 72. So now to put this in perspective, Forrest Gump, like the character portrayed by Tom Hanks, had an IQ of 75. So let that sink in for a second. So mental, quote, retardation, now formally termed intellectual disability, is generally defined by an IQ score below 70 to 75. What this means is that Jessie Misskelly should never have been questioned without a representative or a lawyer in the room. While here in Canada, police legally cannot interview them alone, in the US, it's not strictly forbidden by federal law. It is generally considered dangerous and improper to interview a person with a significant mental disability or intellectual impairment alone in the US. Individuals with mental disabilities are at a much higher risk of making false confessions, providing unreliable information, and failing to understand their constitutional rights. The West Memphis police chose to proceed without even considering Jesse's mental capacity. Okay, when he came in for questioning, he didn't know what they wanted to talk to him about, but he was with his dad, so he said, quote, "I wasn't scared." Jesse was under 18, so they needed his dad's approval to do the interview, so they took him back to his dad to get his signature. On the way back to his dad's, they tell him there's a $35,000 reward for any information, and if he could provide it, his family could get that money. They told him, quote, he said, "If I knew anything to tell the police, that my dad could buy himself a new truck." Jesse initially told the police that he heard things about the victims from friends and that he saw some kids on the service road leading to Robin Hood Hills that day, but that's it. Then the police give Jesse a polygraph test. They told Jesse that the polygraph test could read people's minds. I mean, the cops don't have to tell you the truth. They can lie in certain things. That's maybe not necessarily the nicest thing to do. According to Jesse, quote, "They asked me how did I know so much about the murder if I didn't do it. I kept telling them I didn't know who did it. I just knew of it. What my friend told me. They kept hollering at me, Gary Gitchell and Brian Ridge both. They kept saying they know I had something to do with it because other people done told them." After I told them what the boys were wearing, Gary Gitchell told me, "Was any of them tied up?" That's when I went along with him. I repeated what he told me to. I said, yes, they was tied up. He asked, what was they tied up with? I told him rope. He got mad. He said, "God damn it, Jesse, don't mess with me." He said, no, they was tied up with shoestrings. I had to go all through the story until I got it right. Oh no, they hollered at me until I got it right. So whatever he was telling me, I started telling him back. But I figured something was wrong because if I'd killed them, I'd know I'd done it, right? They showed him a photo of one of the kids at the coroner's office. The photo, according to Jesse, scared the shit out of me. They then played an audio clip to him after showing him the dead child. It was Aaron Hutchinson's voice on the audio, but Jesse would only find this out way later. He had no idea who this child was, and it was a creepy small child's voice saying, "Nobody knows what happened but me." That would be fucking terrifying. I'm sorry, but they're like, here's a picture of a dead child or dead children, whatever. And then this creepy kid's voice comes on saying, "Nobody knows what happened but me." The fuck? Like, God.
It has been reported that the police told Jesse more than once that if he just tells them what he knows, he would get to go home. Jesse took a polygraph test at 12:30, and Bill Burnham finds him to be deceptive on all relevant questions. Now remember, Jesse went to the police station at 10 a.m., and was talking to the police to the point that they read him his Miranda rights at 10:30 or so. They don't actually start recording their interview with Jessie until 2:44 p.m. There is a lot of speculation regarding Jessie's confession and the police coercing him. There is plenty of time to do that between 10 a.m. and 2:44 p.m. The police, at the very least, messed up by not recording during this time.
We are going to play the recording of the confession.
This is Detective Brian Reed of the West Memphis Police Department, currently in the West Memphis Police Department.
Can you hear it?
Investigation for the offense of triple homicide, case file number 93050666.
Does it need to go louder?
Currently in the office with Jessie Misskelly Jr., birth date 17/75, education as a 9th grade. The place we are in the detective division. Today's date is 6/3/93. The time now is 2:44 p.m. Present in the interview will be Inspector Gary Gitchell and Jessie Misskelly. Jessie, in front of me, I have a rights form, and it's got your signature at the bottom of it. Is that your signature? Yes, sir. Okay. We're informing you that we are Detective Sergeant Mike Allen and Detective Brian Ridge. Now, Detective Sergeant Mike Allen is the one that read this form to you earlier. Is that correct? Yes, sir. And I was here when he read it to you. Yes, sir. Police officers of the West Memphis Police Department. We're conducting an investigation for the offense of capital felony murder, which was committed on or about 5/5/93. Before we ask you any questions, you must know and understand your legal rights. Therefore, we warn and advise you that you have the right to remain silent. Do you understand that? Yes. And those are your initials on the line in front of that statement? Yes. Okay. Anything you say can be used against you in court. You understand that? Yes, I do. And those are your initials? Yes, it is. You have the right to talk to a lawyer for advice before we ask you any questions and to have him with you during questioning. You understand that? Yes, I do. And those are your initials? Yes, it is. If you cannot afford a lawyer, one will be appointed for you before any questioning if you wish at no cost to you. You understand that? Yes, I do. And those are your initials? Yes, it is. If you decide to answer questions now without a lawyer present, you will still have the right to stop answering at any time. You understand that? Yes, I do. Those are your initials? Yes, it is. You're up here of your own free will. You came up here to answer some questions, and basically we found out some information during those questions. Is that correct? Yes, I did. Okay. At the bottom of this form is a waiver of rights. It says, I have read the statement of my rights and I understand what my rights are. I am willing to make a statement and answer questions. I do not want a lawyer at this time. I understand and know what I am doing. No promises or threats have been made to me, and no pressure or force has been used against me. Is all that correct? Yes, it is. Okay. And you signed the bottom of the form? Yes, I did. Okay. It's witnessed by Michael Wayne Allen and myself, Detective Brian Ridge. Okay. Jessie, let's go straight to that date, 5/5/93, a Wednesday, early in the morning. You received a phone call, is that correct? Yes, I did. And who made that phone call? Jason Ball. All right. What occurred? What did he talk about? He called me and asked me could I go to West Memphis with him, and I told him no, I had to work and stuff. And then he told me he had to go to West Memphis, so him and Damien went. Then I went with him. When? Wednesday. All right. When did you go with him? That morning. 9 o'clock in the morning? Yes, I did. Okay. I went with them, and then
Now, were you in a car? Whose car were you on?
we walked.
Y'all walked?
All right. We walked, and then
Where did you go?
went up to Robin Hood. You went to the Robin Hood. Explain to me where those woods are. The Blue Beacon truck wash. It's a little patch of woods. Little patch of woods. Behind Blue Beacon? Behind it. Right back there behind it.
Notice how Jessie repeats what Rich says. Rich says, just a little patch of woods. Jessie says, a little patch of woods. Rich says, behind the Blue Beacon. Jessie says, behind it.
What occurred while you were there? When I was there, I saw Damien hit this one boy real bad. And then he started screwing him and stuff. And then you've got in front of you a picture that was taken out of the newspaper, I believe. It's got 3 boys. And these are the 3 boys that were killed on that date in Robin Hood Woods. Okay. Which one of those 3 boys is it you say Damien hit? The third picture, which will be
This boy right here?
Yeah.
All right, that's the Byers boy.
Christopher.
That's who you're pointing at?
Mm-hmm.
if you read the caption, the grisly slaying from left, 8-year-old Michael Moore, Stephen Branch, and Christopher Byers. So you saw Damien strike Chris Byers in the head. What?
Notice how Jesse said Michael Moore, then Detective Gitchell corrected him and said, that's Christopher Byers. And if you could hear it, Jesse seems to be echoing these names as Rich speaks. Rich says, read the captions, and Jesse does, out loud.
Hit him with?
Hit him with his fist and bruised him all up real bad. And then Jason turned around and hit Steve Branch.
Okay.
They started doing the same thing. Then the other one took off. Michael Moore took off running. So I chased him and grabbed him and held him till they got there, and then I left.
Okay. All right. When you get the boys back together, where are you at from the creek?
I was by the service road.
Up by the service road? Okay. Now, when he hits the
Notice how Jesse had said he left, and Detective Rich completely ignores him and brings him back into the scene.
boy, where are they at when he hits him? Are you in the woods? You on the side of the big bayou? You out in the field? Where you at? In the woods. Okay, you've been down there in those woods before.
So
Can you describe to me what in those woods? What's the location where you were? Is there a path you go down?
I was down a little path.
Where does that path go to?
It lead out there close to the field, close to the interstate.
Okay.
That's where I was at. I was close by the interstate.
When he hits the first boy, and then Jason hits another boy, and one takes off running. Where does he run to?
That one, he runs out, going out the park, and I chased him and grabbed him, brought him back.
Which way does he go? I mean, does he going back towards where the houses are? Is he going to Blue Beacon? Is he going out towards the field? Where's he running to?
Towards the houses.
Towards the houses.
Where the pipe is that goes across the water?
Yeah.
Okay.
He run out there, and I called him and brought him back. And then I took off.
Okay. Well, you came back a little bit later, and all 3 boys are tied.
Again, Jesse says he took off. He never said he came back later. Ridge changes what is being told.
Is that right?
Then I took off and went home.
All right. Have they got their clothes on when you saw them tied?
They had.
Again, he says he left. This time, he says he run home, but Ridge acts like he doesn't even hear him.
They had already gotten them all. When he first hit the boy, when Damien first hit the first boy, did they have their clothes on then?
Mm-hmm.
All right. When did they take their clothes off?
Right after they beat up all 3 of them and beat them up real bad.
Beat them.
Okay, so here Jesse says that they beat the boys up before they took their clothes off. But there's a problem with that. There was no blood on the boys' clothes. So, and yes, granted the clothes were in the water, so it could have been due to that. But I feel like if they were beaten up real bad, there's still going to be some residue, right? I mean, they tested the clothes for all kinds of things. If they could test them for like bodily fluids and semen, like all that kind of stuff, I'm assuming they could have tested them for blood too.
And doesn't blood stain?
So it might not have stained if they'd have got it in the water quick enough. Because like if you get blood on your clothes, if you soak them right away, it usually doesn't have time to set into the fabric. But you're talking about blue jeans and like shirt, like there would be some trace somewhere, right? If there, like, because I'm talking, if I cut myself and I get a little bit of blood on my shirt, I can get it wet right away, and it usually comes off for the most part. Now, I can't do luminol testing on that on my shirt to see that it all came off, but they did that testing on these clothes. There was no trace of blood whatsoever. I'm going to assume if they were beaten up as bad as the autopsy says they were, there should have been a little trace at some point somewhere on some clothing, right? So keep that in mind.
Real bad. Then they took their clothes off.
Then
Then they tied them.
they tied them up, tied their hands up. They start screwing them and stuff, cutting them and stuff. Then I saw it and I turned around and looked. And then I took off running. I went home. And then they called me and asked me how come I didn't stay. I told them I just couldn't.
Just couldn't stay for long.
I couldn't stand to see what they was doing to him.
Again, he says he left and went home. This is the fourth time he has said he left. This time, Ridge seems to acknowledge it, but as you'll see, he quickly goes back to acting like he didn't say it.
Okay. Now, when it's going on, when it's taking place, you saw somebody with a knife. Who had a knife?
Jason.
Jason had a knife. What did he cut with a knife? What did you see him cut, or who did you see him cut?
I saw him cut one of the little boys.
All right, where did he cut him at?
He was cutting him in the face.
Cutting him in the face. Another boy was cut, I understand. Where was he cut at?
At the bottom.
On his bottom? Was he face down and he was cutting on him, or?
He was.
Now you talking about bottom, do you mean right here in his growing area? Okay.
So you know what his penis is?
Yeah, that's where he was cut at.
That's where he was cut.
Which boy was that?
That right there.
You're talking about the Byers boy again? Okay.
Are you sure that he was the one that was cut?
That's when I seen him cutting on.
Okay.
You know what a penis is?
So these police officers claim they had no idea that Jessie Misskelly had any mental deficiencies. Yet they are asking him if he knows what a penis is. Jessie is 17 years old. Most 2 to 3-year-olds know what a penis is. If they didn't know he had any mental deficiencies, why would they ask him that? There also seems to be noise in the background when they asked him which boy that was that sounded like a paper being moved and tapping on the desk. Now, the audio isn't great, so that may be just them moving around, but it definitely sounds like paper moving and tapping to me.
Yeah. Did you guys hear that, or was that in my head?
Well, I heard like some kind of muffling where it was, you can't really... Yeah, I heard something. I don't know what it was.
Yeah. Like, I don't know if it's like listening to it with like the headphones on, so it takes out all the other noise and stuff, but that's what it sounded like to me, so I figured I'd stick it in there, but
Yeah.
I don't want to be leading either.
Right.
But the fact, like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, really? Do you know what a penis is? Well, he's fucking got one, doesn't he?
I know.
Like,
I thought
what
that
the
was a really
hell?
weird question too.
Right? Like, you've got to be kidding me.
Oh.
And
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
thought that was a really odd question, especially for a 17-year-old.
right? And I found it really like leading that Jesse said on his bottom. And then the other, who is it? Gitchell, I think, says, is it Gitchell? Who says, oh, you mean in the groin area? Well, no, he said bottom. So why didn't you just say, can you point or can you describe like something?
Yeah.
Don't, because I'm sorry,
Yeah.
bottom and groin, not the same.
No, it's completely different. The bottom, you would think the bum, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or at least the bottom part of his body. So that's
Yeah.
gives you a whole area. Like,
Yeah.
It's frustrating. Okay.
Super.
Is that where he was cutting?
That's why I seen him going down there. And he was on his back. I seen him going down like that real close to his fingers and stuff. And I saw some blood, and that's when I took off.
Again, he said he took off for the 5th time.
This guy, man, he leaves and comes back and leaves and comes back. Well, he doesn't even say he comes back. He just leaves and continues to
Yeah.
leave. Right?
Yeah.
So, were y'all close to the creek at that point?
Yes,
Where was the little boy actually at?
he was close. About
But you know where the bio is,
right.
and you know where the little creek is that goes out to the expressway. And doesn't have a lot of water in it, but it's got some water in it, and it's flowing through there. Which side of that creek were you on? Were you on the Memphis side of the creek, or were you on the Blue Beacon side of that creek?
Blue Beacon.
On the Blue Beacon. So there's like a tall bank. Where were you at on that bank?
I was stand up at on top.
Where were they at?
They was at the bottom.
On
The-
which side?
The Memphis side.
They were on the Memphis side.
I was on the
All right, we're going to correct that even further. That's the east side. Memphis side is the east side. And you were standing at the top of the bank on the west side. Were you looking down at what was going on?
I was looking down. And after I seen all that, I took off.
Again, he says he took off for the 6th time.
Okay. And when you left, did you hear any more hollering or anything?
No,
All right. You went home. And about what time was it that all this was taking place?
they called me about.
I'm not saying when they called you. I'm saying what time was it that you were actually there in the park?
I was there about 12.
About noon? Okay. Was it after school? Had let out?
I didn't go to school.
What these other boys?
They skipped school.
They skipped
They
school.
was going to catch their bus or stuff, and they was on their bikes. So
Okay, this part is important to note. Jesse's saying it was noon. 12 o'clock. Ridge had to point out that the boys had school. Jesse didn't go to school, but if he was confessing to a crime he had actually committed, he should have known what time, or at least that it was in the evening, not in the middle of the day. It seems as though he has no idea about the time, but he says noon, middle of the day. The boys were definitely at school on May 5th.
They were on their bikes. Where were their bikes at?
they laid their bikes down when they come out there to the when they hollered for them, told them come out there.
Where did they lay their bikes down? That's what I'm asking.
I don't know where they laid their bikes at down there, cause I was behind Damien Neal, way behind them.
Okay.
And when they hollered, then I seen the boys.
The boys came on over. Had Damien seen these boys before? Has he done things with them before? Or has he just been watching them? Has he had sex with them before? Has he ever had sex with any of them before?
He's been watching.
He's been watching. You mentioned earlier that at one of the meetings you went to with this cult thing, they had some pictures. Describe those pictures for me.
They had some houses, the trees and stuff.
Okay. Had somebody taken pictures of these boys?
Mm-hmm.
Were they in the houses or were they in these trees when they took those pictures?
They were at the houses.
At the houses. Did they take like one picture of one boy?
It was in a group.
Always three?
It was a group picture of three. All three of them.
All three of them would generally be together.
Mm-hmm.
How many pictures did you see
I
altogether?
just saw one.
Okay. And it had these same three boys in it?
Mm-hmm.
You're certain of that?
Mm-hmm.
Now, did you say the boys skipped school that day? These little boys did?
Mm-hmm.
Are you sure?
They was going to going somewhere, and like I said, Damien and them left before I did. I told them I'd meet them there and stuff. I had to get ready and stuff. I'd meet them there. And it was early in the morning, so they went ahead and met me up. They went ahead, went up there, and then I came up, later on behind them.
What time did you get there?
I got there about 9.
In the morning?
Mm-hmm.
Wednesday morning?
Mm-hmm.
And
what time is it right now?
Right now?
Yeah. You don't know what time it is?
do you not wear a watch?
Sit home.
So
My dad woke me up this morning.
your time period might not be exactly right what you're saying,
Right.
but it would.
Jesse may not have a watch on to know what time it was right then, but that doesn't mean he didn't know what time it was the day he is describing. And even if he doesn't know the time exactly, he is saying in the morning.
Early in the day, but you don't know exactly what time. Okay. Because I've got some real confusion with the times you're telling me. But now, this 9 o'clock in the evening call that you've got, explain that to me.
Well, after all the stuff happened that night that they done it,
Okay.
I went home about noon. Then they called me at 9 o'clock that night. They called me.
Again, he said he went home at noon.
And what did they tell you on the telephone?
They asked me how come I left so early and stuff. And I told them I couldn't stand there watching it no more, so I had to do something to get out of there.
Okay. Who called you?
Jason,
And you mentioned you heard some voice in the background.
I heard some things.
And what else? I think you said that he made the call from his house.
Ridge is definitely adding things here. Makes it sound like they had talked it through before, which they did. Why wasn't it recorded?
Right? They were there for a long time before they started recording. And so I will say the podcast that I listened to, the prosecutors, they covered this and they did explain really well that you don't record everything because of like storage and stuff. Like you can't keep all these tapes, right? And the more tapes you have, the more storage space you need to, keep this and whatever. Like they explained it really well. And on one hand, it makes sense. On the other hand, you're talking to a 17-year-old who does not have representation. Wouldn't you, to protect yourself, want to have a recording? Like, wouldn't the police? I don't know. I'm not a cop, and I'm not a lawyer. I don't know the ins and outs of it all. It just seems really bizarre to me that there was a lot that was said prior to these recordings. Whether that's like standard policy or whatever, it just seems, specifically in this case, it just seems like that was not the right call.
They even sound, though, like they're trying to manipulate him.
Right? It's very leading.
Because they're trying to, like, change his story. Like, it's almost like they know he doesn't know what really happened.
Right? Oh, it's so frustrating. Okay, we'll continue to be frustrated.
I made a call from his house, and Damien was hollering in the background and said, "We done it, we done it. What we gonna do if somebody saw us? What we gonna do?"
Okay. Now, the knives. Was there one knife, two knives? Was your knife there? Did somebody take you and use your knife? Do you have a knife?
I got one knife.
Where is it at?
It's at home.
Okay. The knife that you said Jason was using, where is it?
I don't know what he done with it, because after I left, then that's when I don't know what they done with it. After I left, I don't know what they
They
done
didn't
with it.
tell you he hid it somewhere?
That's what I got a feeling here. You're not quite telling me everything. Now we're recording everything. So this is very, very important to tell us the entire truth. If you were there the whole time, then tell us you were there the whole time. Don't leave anything out. This is very, very important. Now just tell us the truth.
I was there till they tied him up. And then that's when I left. After they tied him up, I left.
But you saw them cutting on the boys.
I saw them cutting on them. And then
So what else left is there after that?
they laid the knives down beside them, and I saw them tying them up, and then that's when I left.
Were the boys conscious or were they
They was unconscious then.
unconscious?
And then after I left, they done more.
They done more.
They started screaming again.
Okay. How were they screwing them when you saw them?
Jason stuck his in one of them's mouth, and Damien was screaming one of them up the asses too.
Okay. All right. And the one that they were cutting the penis off of, did any of them, or cutting the penis or whatever was being done, did they have sex with him at all?
Okay, so I just have to say that he laughed, but after he left, they done more.
Right?
They started screwing them again. But he had said he had already left. So how do you know that that happened if you had left?
Exactly.
It makes zero sense, right?
And it's hard to say if does this mean he didn't like if he's telling the truth, does this mean that he didn't actually leave, but he's trying to disassociate or trying to make it look like he didn't do as much, so he's not quite as responsible? Or is he just trying to give them more because they're waiting for more information?
I don't know. This boy left a lot of times, but there's so much stuff that happened after he left that he says he saw. Like the whole thing just doesn't make sense.
Right?
Yeah, I feel like he didn't do it. I feel like he didn't even have a story to really tell. They're just
No.
padding it.
Yeah. And I feel like I'm sure we've talked about this before, or I'm sure I have talked about this before, when certain people that are not good in social or like reading social cues, when someone's talking to you and they ask you a question and you answer it, but they continue to stare at you. And so you keep talking because you assume they're wanting more, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm like, is that what he's doing? He's just like, oh, I wasn't done. I guess I should just keep talking. Like, it's so hard to say.
Yeah. So, and Jesse hadn't said anything about cutting off their penis. He had just said they stabbed him in the groin.
Yeah. So they're giving more info to him.
No,
Did either one of them?
Jason did.
Jason did.
Jason was screwing him while Damon stuck his in his mouth, letting the boy's mouth.
Okay. How did he have sex with that one?
Damon, he was holding him down, right?
Uh-huh.
And Jason had his legs up in the air, and that little boy was kicking, saying, "Don't, like that."
So Jesse had already said they were unconscious. So how did Damien get a blowjob if the boy was unconscious? He had also said they were tied up already. And the way they were tied up, how was the boy kicking?
Okay. He had his legs up in the air. What was to keep these little boys from running off? If just their hands are tied, what's to keep them from running off?
Take note that Jesse hadn't said just their hands were tied.
They beat him up so bad, well, they can't hardly move. They have their hands tied down and just sit on them.
You said they had their hands tied down. Were their hands tied in a fashion to where they couldn't have run? You tell me.
They could run. They just had them tied. When they knock them down and stuff, they can hold their arms and stuff and hold them down like where he couldn't raise up. And the other one pick his legs up.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I also, this detective was asking him, do you know what a penis is? But then he uses the word, was the boy conscious or unconscious? If you think he doesn't know what a penis is, he is definitely not going to understand what the word unconscious or conscious means.
Right?
Right? So
Yeah.
yes, he said they're unconscious, but does he even know what that means?
Oh, most likely not.
Right? So you're manipulating him to say things that just, he doesn't even know what the meaning of it is.
Yeah.
We can only assume because you're asking him if he knows what a penis is, right?
Oh, exactly.
So-
And I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't think that Jessie Misskelly is like completely like oblivious. I don't think I think yes, he has a low IQ, but he did test, I think if I'm correct, he tested 85 in basically like life skills. Like he did have a job. There was certain things that he could do. Like he wasn't totally incompetent.
Right.
But there's a lot of people that can hold a job and function in life, but have disabilities in other ways, right? Like it doesn't mean that he understands the difference between an unconscious person and a person that's just had the shit
Right.
kicked out of him is just laying there, right? He's not going to know the difference between that. And I think some of this is contradicting each other, and I don't know.
I don't know. I just feel if you're asking somebody, do you know what a penis is? You would say, do you know what it means to be conscious and unconscious?
Right?
Right? And then he would say, well, yes or no. And then you would
Yeah.
explain, well, unconscious means it looks like they're sleeping. Conscious means it looks like they're awake. So were the boys sleeping or were they awake? Right? There's just other
Yeah.
ways to word things so he understands it better. And they just did not. They just,
Yeah. And
yeah.
like you said, if they had no clue that he had any intellectual deficiencies, sorry, took me a minute, I couldn't remember the word. But if they had no clue that he had any, why are they asking him what a penis if he knows what a penis is? Why are they asking him if he knows how to tell time?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like they had to have known there was something.
Well, and this kid went home. He had left so many times.
Right?
Like, that's when I left. And then this happened, and that's when I left, and this happened, that's when I left. That's when you know what?
That's at least,
Maybe this isn't.
wouldn't they at least think, something's a little off here,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Like, and whether it's because they think he's lying or whether they think, he just is trying to get out of, seeming as guilty as the rest, whatever. Maybe it's time to get the dad or the lawyer or
Yeah.
somebody in there to like help make sure we're getting all the facts.
Yeah.
And I get they were like these cops were under a lot of pressure. This was a horrific murder. I understand them wanting to, get to the bottom of it. And he's telling a fantastical story here, right? So I can understand them being like, oh my God, this is it. We've got our guy. But if you really listen, at some point you got to be like, wait, we might not have our guy.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll continue. There was a big pause there because this is in 2 recordings. Actually, there's 3, but this is part 2.
So they had him under control. You were there the whole time that was taking place?
That was it.
Okay. One of them was cut on the face real bad. Is that what you said? And one of them was being cut on his penis.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Did anyone use a stick and hit the boys with?
This is another leading question and should not have been asked. They should be letting Jessie lead the narrative.
1,000%.
Didn't he say they were cut on the face too?
Yeah.
And now he's saying they weren't?
Did he say they weren't?
Yeah, it says, okay, none of them was cut on the face real bad. Is that what you said?
Oh, right, yeah. See, and I wonder if that one could be the person doing this transcribing, right? Because of their accents, and they do say things a bit different. I don't know. I didn't quite hear it quite did you hear it as him saying none?
It sounded like it.
Yeah. Yeah, they just this whole story is fucked up. Okay.
Batman had kind of a big old stick when he hit that first one. After he hit him with his fist, knocked him down, then he got him a big old stick to hit him.
What did the stick look like? I mean, was it like a big log like that, or is it a stick?
I'd say it was about that big around. I'd say about that now.
Okay.
About the size of a baseball bat, maybe just a little bit bigger around.
Yeah.
That's what you described with your hands, right?
No.
Okay. How long was the knife that Jason was using? All right, you're describing a knife that would be about 6 inches long. Is that right? And what kind of blade did it have on it?
Like just a regular knife blade.
Was it a knife that you fold up, or was it like a hunting knife that's just one piece?
Just you fold up knife.
It was a folding knife?
Mm-hmm.
And note that the knife Jessie's describing does not match the large hunting knife with the serrated blade they say is the murder weapon.
Does Damien have a knife? He doesn't have one? He didn't have one that night?
I didn't have one that day.
Did he borrow yours?
I didn't buy mine.
Okay.
Did they have a briefcase with them?
Remember back in the interview with Aaron Hutchinson, when Aaron talked about the briefcase? Now they are planting that same idea in Jessie.
You didn't see a briefcase?
See a briefcase. Not unless they left it there that day before it happened. Not unless they left it there then, but I didn't see it down there that day.
Have you ever seen them with a briefcase before?
I seen that one night. I seen it with them that night.
Okay. What is kept inside that briefcase?
They had some cocaine and a little gun.
Okay, so they ask if they had a briefcase, and Jesse says no, not unless they left it there. But I didn't see it that day. Then he says, I seen them with it that night. Yet Ridge and Gitchell both breeze right over it. They should have at least asked him to clarify. And I'm sorry, what? We're just going to skip right over the fact that he said they had cocaine and a gun?
Right? So, oh my God, I'm sorry.
No big deal. No
Right?
big deal. No big deal.
Yeah,
17-year-olds can totally have cocaine and guns.
right? What the fuck?
No big deal.
I can't believe they just breezed right over that. What the fuck, man?
Is that where you first saw the pictures
Mm-hmm.
of the
I
boys?
done that show.
And you saw the pictures in the briefcase?
That's where when we had that call.
Okay. Now you have participated in this cult, right?
Yes.
How long have you been involved in it?
Been in for about 3 months.
Okay. Tell me some of the things y'all do typically in the woods as being in this cult.
We go out, kill dogs and stuff, and then carry girls out there.
All right, what do you do with the girls when you're out there?
We screw them and stuff.
Does just everybody take turns?
Everybody, and all I have is the orgy and stuff like that.
Okay.
When you kill a dog, what do you do with it?
We usually skin it, build a little bonfire, and eat it and stuff.
Okay, when you're initiating somebody new to come into a cult, what actually is done to initiate that person into a cult?
We usually, kill the animals, see if he knows, how to handle meat and stuff. After we kill it, see if he knows. If he can't handle it, then he don't get in.
Okay, so he kills an animal. You mentioned earlier that he may have to eat part of that animal. What part of the animal would he eat?
Part of his, meat off his leg.
Meat off his leg.
And if he can't eat it, then he don't get in.
Doesn't get into the club. Now, on these meetings, have they ever been violent? Anybody got mad and got in a fight? Okay. The night you were in these woods, had y'all been in the water?
Yeah, we been in water. We was in the playing around in it.
You were playing around in the water. What were you doing in the water
Just
besides just playing? I mean, the little boys, had they been in the water? Did they get in the water with y'all?
no, they didn't get in the water with us.
Okay. What were you doing in the water?
We were just sitting there throwing stuff at each other.
Okay. Were y'all having sex?
No, I wasn't.
You weren't.
No.
Was Damien and Jason having sex?
They take turns going up under the water.
Going under the water? What were they doing under the water?
I don't know. They sit so far away. They go up in the water, stay for about 5-10 seconds, and then come up, and the other one go down.
Okay. So they were just messing around in the water. And they called for these boys to come over there?
Yeah, they seen the boys, and then they hollered. Damien hollered, say, hey, and the boys came out there.
Did they call them by name?
They just hollered, and then they just showed up.
Where did the boy?
Okay, I'm sorry. I just have to say, if you are an 8-year-old boy and you're walking in the woods and you see 3 18-year-olds in the water fucking around and they go, hey, are y'all going over there? As an
No.
8-year-old, wouldn't you be like, let's get the fuck out of here? Right? Like, That just seems so bizarre. Yeah. When you're 8, you're like, you don't want any part of these weird teenagers that are disappearing under the water for 5 or 10 seconds at a time and then coming up, right? Like, what? Like, I just don't see the 3 boys being like, oh, they want us to come and join them. Like, that just seems weird. Anyway.
Like, the clothes right right there before you come in. They laid it down right there.
Okay.
And I don't know what, after I left, I don't know what they did with the bike.
You didn't do anything to the bikes at all?
You know,
Are you sure?
positive,
You didn't touch the bikes?
you touch them.
You've been back to this place since that murder, since it took time to place. What did you do while you were there? And be truthful.
I sit down there. I just sit there after what they did to the boys. I just sit there,
And did what?
just thought what happened to them real bad. I just thought,
Right.
and then I left and stuff.
And stuff.
I just left and walked on.
When did you go back there?
2 or 3 days after it happened, and I left.
Notice how, again, even though it doesn't matter after this point, if he's there or not, he keeps saying he left. He left a lot. He's always leaving.
He
But him
does.
saying he left is almost like him trying to say he's over this conversation.
Right.
Yeah.
It's almost like a substitute for I don't know.
Yes, exactly. So he just says, I left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yourself.
Everybody else left.
You go there with some more boys once?
It was me, David, and Dennis.
That particular place.
No.
Are you willing to go down there with us and us have a camcorder and you show us where these things took place? Could you do that? Wouldn't have any problem with that. Huh?
Not that I know of, I wouldn't have a problem with
But
it.
you would be able to point out where these things took place, which way the boys came from, and where y'all were when he hollered for the boys, stuff like that. You wouldn't have any problem with that?
But after the murder and stuff, like I said, about 2 or 3 days later, after it happened, I went in there and thought about it, and I ain't been there since.
Let me ask you something. This is real serious. I want you to be real truthful. And I want you to think about it before you answer it. Don't just say yes or no real quick. I want you to think about it. Did you actually hit any of these boys?
No,
Now tell us the truth.
no,
Okay. Did you actually rape any of these boys?
no,
Did you actually kill any of these boys?
no,
Did you see any of the boys actually killed?
yes,
Okay. Which one did you see killed?
that right there.
Notice the sound of the paper being moved twice, once before Jessie answers and again after.
Ken, you guys heard it that time, right?
I did not hear it.
Me neither.
Damn it. I wonder if it's because I'm so close to it, if that's why I can hear it. I don't know. But I totally hear the sound of the paper. All right.
The Byers boy again.
Okay. How was he actually killed?
He choked me real bad, like,
Choking him. Okay. What was he choking him with?
it's like a stick. There's a little stick and kind of holding it over his neck.
So he was choking him to the point to where he actually went unconscious. So at that point, you feel like he was dead.
Yeah,
According to the autopsy report, there was no sign that any of the boys had been choked.
Did any of the other 2 boys, were you there when they were actually killed? You say you got sick. So what you were saying, did you throw up or anything? Where did you throw up at?
I got a little bit of ways after we took scene that I left about half a mile up the road. That's when I threw up stuff. I couldn't hardly run or nothing. I just threw up.
When you left from there, did you go running?
Mm-hmm.
Were you hiding?
You had some blood on your clothes?
I had no blood on me. I didn't get close to him.
Were your clothes wet still?
Mm-hmm. They was damp.
Muddy?
Mm-hmm.
And Inspector Gitchell touched on a point real close. Now, what clothes was Jason wearing that day, that night?
He was some blue jeans and some boots, like the army boots, like.
Army boots? And what kind of a shirt? I mean, you know, everybody wears a special shirt for different things.
He's wearing a Megadeth shirt.
A Megadeth?
Not Megadeth, Metallica.
Metallica shirt. All right. Was he wearing a cap? Anything like that?
He didn't wear a cap.
All right. Damien, what was Damien wearing?
Damien had some black pants on, some boots, and a black t-shirt.
Was anything on his shirt? No kind of design or anything?
Just black.
The blue jeans that Jason was wearing, they designer jeans, were they old jeans, wore out, holes?
They wore out.
What did it look like?
They had holes in the knees and stuff.
Holes in the knees. What color is Jason's hair?
Blonde.
Bright blonde or like a sandy reddish type blonde? You know the difference?
It's like a thing.
Sandy color blonde? Okay. He was wearing blue jeans. He had a Metallica shirt. This is a shirt that's got Metallica across the front of it spelled out and a man's name or something under it, or a picture. Is that right? You tell me.
They had pictures.
Picture of somebody?
Different shirts had, different Metallica shirts got different pictures.
Which one did he have?
He had the sky skull on.
A skull. What were you wearing that day?
Just wearing regular blue jeans, my shoes, and
What kind of shoes were you wearing?
my Adidas.
Adidas tennis shoes? Okay. What kind of shirt were you wearing?
I was wearing a regular one of my old Breezy up t-shirts.
Okay. Was it a design shirt, like this Bull Run type shirt, or was it just a plain white
Plain white.
old t-shirt? Where are these shoes at now?
A friend of mine got them, he borrowed them.
Who is that?
Lucas.
Buddy Lucas?
He borrowed them from him.
The boots that Damien had on, were they army type boots too, or what kind of boots were they?
Close, like on tight, not quite.
Okay. They're black. Is that right? Lace up? Okay. And Jason's black, lace up?
Jason was black up to about liquid white.
Oh, they come way up on him. Okay. Damien's didn't come up that far. Okay. Okay. When they killed the boys, you decided to go. You went home. How long after you got home before you received a phone call? 30 minutes? An hour? An hour after you got home? Okay. So they were there for a lot longer.
Mm-hmm.
When he called you on the phone, did he say you just got in?
He called me when he first called me. He said, "How come I left? How come I couldn't stand it? I had to do something else."
Okay.
And then
You couldn't stand it.
I heard Damien in the background saying, "We done it. What we gonna do now? What about if somebody saw us?"
Okay. Did anybody see you leave
No,
that you know of?
that I know of.
Did anybody see Damien and Jason?
Oh no, I left with him.
Or have you heard anybody say that they saw Damien and Jason? You hadn't heard anybody? Okay. Initiations. You said they part of the leg muscles,
Yeah.
leg meat?
Yeah.
Would that involve eating part of the penis of the animal?
And
Just the meat?
just to make
Okay. Has Jason and Damien talked to you since this happened? They haven't talked to you about this?
they ain't say nothing around me. Well, not because I'm around some more of my friends. They don't say nothing.
Or when you've been by yourself, and I'm sure in the last 3 weeks you've been by yourself with them sometime.
I mean, what I mean, he just he keeps on asking me how come I left stuff. Has anybody said anything to me about it?
Okay. What did he say about when you came to the police department? That boy, you seeing that boy in the woods up there behind the Goodyear place. What did he say about that?
I didn't know nothing about that.
He doesn't know that? Okay. What about when you get with Jason by himself?
Just he keeps on asking me what we're gonna do next. I told him I can't do it now because I go with my dad every day. I'm making an excuse because
So they're scared. Is that right?
they're scared because after what they did, I told them I just bring a better excuse. I gotta work with my dad every time, so I gotta do something.
Well, what do you think ought to be done to them for killing these boys?
Let the new people live for a while.
Put away for a while. Do you think they're sick or just mean?
Let them see.
They're sick. Okay. Is there anything else you want to add to this statement? Why did you not come forward with this information?
Because I was scared.
Scared of Damien or scared of the police?
Scared of the police.
Are you scared of Damien now?
No.
Are you scared of the police now? You're not? So we treated you well. Okay. All right. I'm going to conclude this interview. The time is 3:18.
I don't understand. Like, I'm sorry. From when the murders happen to this interview, how long has it been?
Okay, so just about 4 weeks. So the murders
Just
happened.
about 4 weeks. Okay,
Yeah.
I will tell you right now, I do not remember what I was wearing 4 weeks ago.
Right?
I do not remember what my friends or my coworkers were wearing 4 weeks ago, no matter
Right.
what they were doing. They could have been beating a child, and I could not tell you what they were wearing.
Yeah. Oh,
Like, that
same.
just is so off to me.
Yeah.
Like, right down to their shoes.
Right?
I can't even tell you what I wore yesterday. I don't remember what I wore yesterday.
I mean, the only reason I do is because I went to see the Michael Jackson movie again and I wore a Michael
Right.
Jackson hoodie. But if it had not had that, I wouldn't
Yeah.
remember. And even if something significant happened 4 weeks ago, first of all, I can't remember anything significant that happened longer than a week ago.
I
But
just
I
find
couldn't
it
tell you what I was
very-
wearing.
Yeah, I find it irrelevant
Yeah.
to know what everybody was wearing, but even so, right?
Well,
Like,
I'm guessing they wanted to know what they were wearing so they knew what clothing to look for specifically when they searched their houses,
I see.
right?
Yeah.
So I can see that point, but I can't see him remembering
No,
But
4 weeks later.
4 weeks is a long way out.
Yeah.
it is. And to remember what shirt, what pants, that they were ripped, what shoes or boots, or you know what I mean? Like, it just seems really,
Yeah. I could see him maybe, because this is a significant event. If this happened, this
it
is
is
so I
yeah,
could see
it is.
him maybe remembering what he was wearing, possibly. Okay, maybe Jason had a Metallica shirt on, maybe. But if these kids are constantly wearing heavy metal like Metallica shirts, Megadeth shirts, whatever, you're not going to remember. Not at all,
No, you're not.
right?
And
Like,
especially, like, I don't know, when you are witnessing something like that, you're not focused on what somebody's wearing. You are like, oh my God, what is happening right now? Right?
Right.
It's like, it's not.
especially because he's making it sound like he didn't want to be there. He didn't want any part of this. So
Yeah.
he's definitely not making mental notes of
Yeah.
the apparel of the other people.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
he'd be lucky to remember that they had clothes on, right? Like,
Yeah.
okay, so we're gonna end here. after these two recordings. There is a third one that we're gonna do. We're gonna save that for next week because otherwise we're gonna be at like a 3-hour episode and y'all might get bored. So far, this has been nuts. It's crazy. I don't know. I hope you guys have opinions, and we would love to hear your opinions, by the way. If you want to share them on our Facebook page or whatever, we would love to hear what everybody else thinks about this because we've got some thoughts.
I don't even know what to think anymore. Like, I have no idea.
Right?
After listening to these recordings, and I don't know.
You know why I'm so confused?
Me too.
See, and okay, so I don't think I've kept it secret. I have always been they're innocent. That has always been my thoughts. I have to say, when I heard this for the first time, or when I heard about this, sorry, when I actually heard the tape, I was like, no, still innocent. But when I heard about these confessions, I was like, wait a minute, who confesses? Who confesses to something like to murdering 3 boys if they haven't done it? Then when I heard the recordings, I was like, now I see.
Yeah.
I'm not a cop, so I don't know how these things work. And I could say that a million times and then also criticize them at the same time. I get it. I'm human. That's what we do. But this just does not seem okay to me. And if this is how normal police interrogations or questionings or whatever go, fair enough. But I'm going to say, put it this way. As a mom, if this was my son that was being questioned like this, I'd be going apeshit. First of all, I would not have let my son be questioned without me or a lawyer, probably both, in the room. Like, wouldn't have happened. And I understand that Jessie did not have a mom at the time. I'm just saying, me personally, I feel like his dad, and maybe his dad didn't really understand, but this kid's 17. How easy, like, I don't care how badass you are at 17, you can easily, I think, be somewhat swayed or controlled or however you want to word it by the police. Even if you're a badass kid that's in trouble all the time, whatever, I still think the cops, they have this kind of power over you, right? Like, especially to young people. So yeah, as a mom, absolutely fucking not.
I agree.
And we know Sophia agrees too, because she's a mama
agree.
bear. Yeah.
Oh, God, yes.
Yeah, there's no way in hell that my kids would be in this situation.
Absolutely no way. No way.
Yeah. And even, you know what? I will say, even if they had done it, I still would not allow them to be in this situation. I would still, they need a lawyer. Because at the end of the day, they are, like, Jessie is 17. He is a child himself.
Mm-hmm.
So whether this 17-year-old child has done something horrific or not, he should have legal representation at the very least. So, yeah. So we are going to end here for today, and we will pick up next week with the rest and more of my boisterous opinion. No, with the rest of Jessie Misskelly's confessions and our thoughts. All right. So that's it for Moms on Mics this week.
Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Moms on Mics Podcast, on TikTok at Moms on Mics, and join our Facebook group, Moms on Mics.
If anyone has any topics you would like us to cover, or if you have any questions or suggestions, you can email us at momsonmics@gmail.com or submit through our website, momsonmics.com.
We would also appreciate it if you could rate and review us on whatever platform you're listening on. It really helps the podcast move up on their charts so it gets more exposure. I hope you join us again next week. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.